Hi, is that Bradley Walsh on the chase? Perfect. Hi, it's Jeremy from The Weekly. Yeah, I've just been on the line to the network and I've been told that they're pulling you off the air at the next commercial break. Yes, I know how disappointing that will be. Yes, I know the chaser wins by default when this happens, but look, we do need to break in. Just get ready to come off the air. Because we're live in 20 seconds. Sorry, Bradley, but the pandemic waits for no man. Look, I've got to go, my producer's screaming me. I'll speak to you on the other side, Bradley. Ready? Good evening, weaklings, and welcome to an extended edition of the programme, where tonight we promise protection against the virus. In our agenda, new technology has been pioneered that will allow users to visualise COVID virus particles in clouds, as well as identify those who may be COVID positive. We have an exclusive report. The World Health Organization have been forced into a humiliating U-turn on variant names after 96% of the public confessed they had no knowledge whatsoever of the Greek alphabet. We have full details of the second naming convention switch in a week. And as more of you idiots have decided to infect yourself with the virus in recent weeks amid a surge of the Delta variant, does it mean another national lockdown is on the way? Monday, 7th of June, 2021. From the city of Dundee, this is a special edition of The Weekly with Jeremy Barr. We start tonight by apologising half-heartedly to Bradley Walsh and his chums at the Chase, who we've thrown off the air so we can join you this evening. He'll return next week, and we've advised him not to be so late that he tries to cut us off again. Our top story tonight concerns these bad boys. They may look like innocent sunglasses, but they're covered in a smart film that allows wearers the ability to see clouds of COVID particles so they can avoid being infected. The new discovery could bring a pandemic to a speedier end if the technology can be manufactured at sufficiently little cost. We took a little look at the potentially life-saving wearable. I'm sitting a few feet away from a COVID cloud. You can't see it with a regular lens, so we've wrapped the TNN camera with these new tech film these glasses are fitted with to visualise the size of the cloud. The white dots represent the actual particles moving around. Now what this means is an infected person shedding the virus was here not too long ago. Luckily, today the wind is quite light, otherwise ingesting that becomes a real risk. As a double measure, I have received both doses of vaccine, just that little extra protection, but well, even now, I'm not fully safe. This latest technology has been developed by the University of Dundee in association with the NHS here in the city, with a view of improving the health service's track and trace system set up last year. Users can connect their new sunglasses to the tracing app, and the NHS will be able to build up a visual picture of exactly where the virus is so we can avoid being infected. If implemented correctly, it could save millions of lives. Professor Tay Richards explains.
Well, with these new sunglasses, people will be able to see the virus and where it's being excluded from, and therefore they will be able to avoid where it lies, therefore saving millions of lives and freeing up hospital beds.
And the ramifications for India, which has been in the grip of the worst surge of infections the world has seen, could be huge.
Yes, well, the situation in India as it stands is catastrophic. There's not enough hospital beds and cases are rising by the day. Their track and trace system is simply not up to scratch, which with these sunglasses, it'll definitely help solve the crisis.
The success of the new technology is dependent on uptake. It needs thousands of volunteers willing to use these sunglasses on a semi-permanent basis for enough data to be collected.
Yes, it's very important, as if we don't get enough data, then we will not be able to build up the bigger picture of the coronavirus, and none of this will work. It will be all for naught.
And there are questions of whether the fashion change required will be popular enough.
Yes, there are a few. They're maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but I mean, I think sunglasses are just cool anyway. So I'd encourage people to wear them if they can and help, you can look cool in the process as well.
Ultimately, it remains to be seen if these glasses could change the world. Jeremy Barr for The Weekly. Thanks to me for that reporting. Moving on tonight to the possibility of another lockdown. Yep, you heard that right.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
We couldn't resist that. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon this week restated the need to keep cases and hospitalisations with COVID low as a means of allowing NHS boards to catch up with non-COVID related cases such as cancers and other urgent cases. If new variants mean that's not possible for the NHS to get back on track, would a new lockdown have to be considered? Earlier, I spoke to someone about it. Good afternoon, Heinz. Let's start with the Delta variant because it has been wreaking havoc in many other countries where vaccination rates have been lower. It is here in the UK now. It is here in Scotland. What potential does it have to cause utter carnage?
Well, thank you for asking me that, Jeremy. I would consider it has great potential for carnage. I mean, when you consider the millions of people that have been infected by the virus in India, the Delta strain, and over here, barely many of our younger groups, particularly those in their 20s, they have not yet been jabbed.
Are you worried that this new strain might mean lots of younger people in hospital?
Oh, I am incredibly worried that it would. This is potentially even nastier than the regular strain that our country is already used to.
Are we talking thousands of dead babies?
Oh, we are talking many dead babies. We are talking dead babies up to like your head, that high of a body part, maybe even greater, maybe even up to the size of a bus stop. Oh, it's terrible.
Let's talk easing lockdown, or maybe not. Case rates are on the rise across Scotland. There are a few local authority areas now where just the data alone, you could argue that they should be in level 4 restrictions, never mind level 2. Your reaction to that? Should we be going backwards? Should we be heading back towards lockdown?
Oh, absolutely. We must be going backwards. It's the safest strategy for this country. I mean, you don't know how nasty it's going to be until it hits.
Vaccination, should it be mandatory? Should we be forcing people to have the jab?
Oh, yes, yeah.
And say what should we do then if people then refuse? Should we do, immigration style raids on their houses and forcibly inoculate them that way?
Yeah, it does sound very extreme, doesn't it? Having to round people up and, force the jabs on them, but unfortunately, the needs must...
Have you considered the moral implications of that, though? Have you considered the idea that it's not ethical to force anyone into medical treatment that they don't want?
I understand that morality plays a big issue. You don't want to come across as some sort of dictatorship, but then we are in the middle of a pandemic. I think the ethics must be going out the window.
Since that interview was conducted, we have since learned that NHS Holby City Trust has announced the closure of its main hospital building, citing intense financial pressures as the reason. Patients are being currently moved around, some as far as 300 miles away to hospitals in Newcastle, Cumbria, and even north of the border. The government have ordered an investigation into the decision to close. Meanwhile, the BBC documentary series following the events at the hospital, Holby City, has also been axed, and that programme will end in the new year. Some news in brief now. The World Health Organization have renamed variants of COVID that have emerged in recent months as shape names as a means of removing bias against multiple nations. This renaming is the second in the space of a week after it realised that most people don't know jack shit about the Greek alphabet. The Alpha variant, first discovered in Kent, becomes the Circle variant. The Beta variant from South Africa is now a semicircle, and the Delta variant is now the Triangle variant because it was found in a triangular country. After the UK government declared that nobody was reported to have died on Tuesday from COVID, pandemic deniers have taken the unusual step of denying that anyone has ever died, ever. Activists descended on various city centres across the UK to demand the truth about eternal life be acknowledged. They say every death that has ever happened was faked. Some of the families who lost loved ones in the last 18 months slammed the protesters on social media, referring to them as obnoxious twats who would impose their fascism on us. And the Scottish Government is under pressure this week to refund hundreds of thousands of healthcare workers whose £500 bonuses were taxed at extortionate rates. Some reported large chunks of their bonus finding its way to the Treasury instead of their pockets, and one unlucky individual found their entire bonus stolen back, with an additional £100 penalty, meaning they paid 120% tax. TNN have been researching the mechanism by which the coronavirus vaccine has protecting people, and has come to an intriguing finding. Research published in the latest medical journal this month has found protection established by the vaccine is twofold. Not only is there an immune response, but there's also a secondary membrane response. With more details, this report.
Scientists have found a remarkable vaccine glow that builds up in people who have had 2 doses of any of the approved vaccines. Routine MRI scans in patients who are in hospital for non-COVID related issues have found that this invisible membrane surrounds the patient's body and exists in 2 layers. After isolating the layer, experimentalists found that this new membrane blocks the egress of many coronavirus particles in a fashion very similar to that of polarizing lens blocking the passage of light. The new discovery opens up new avenues of research to reduce or stop altogether transmission of the virus and bring an end to the pandemic even closer.
And finally, a look at tomorrow's papers. What do you mean you don't have them? Where are the bloody papers? Look, if you do realise you're getting sacked for this. Nah, you're sacked. Nah. Don't work for the weekly if you can't provide the goods. And in this case, of course I mean the papers. You've ruined the entire show, you realise that?